Warriors. How's everyone doing today? I hope good. One more high coming. Hey, Brock, how are you? Arena, thank you. Hugo, hello. Kevin, all those little symbols you sent me, I don't know what they mean. Hey, okay. Let's take a look around. What do you think? How you, Ren, Sinatra? Pavan P, nice to meet you. Okay, so the boy who cried wolf. Look at this one day. Enjoy life. Okay, very good advice. In COVID. All right, so this is so glaring, isn't it, guys? That's a NAS 100. That's S&Ps. And saw something interesting by Norm Winsky, who says the 11th. So, I mean, this is the second guy. So, Mark Newton talking about something on the 12th, and Norm Winsky talking about the 11th. For all you guys that are into planetary work, I think all but one planet aligning in Aquarius. Age of Ethereum, Age of Ethereum in Aquarius. So anyway, this is starting to look like a 1, 2, 3 on the 2-hour. We're even not confirming on the 15-minute TF. So, I'm going to be paying attention to those two dates. It's tomorrow and Friday. This is what happens. You try a trade several times, and you're both wrong the trade and wrong the market. And when you finally get worn out, and I can't tell you how many times it's happened to me, where you just say, forget it already, and you don't give it the next attempt with your methodology, is when it happens. Reminds me of that expression, to be there for the good times, you have to be there all the time. Because in this business, if you turn your head, sometimes even just for a day, you miss something important. Now, I'm saying that you can miss the initial leg, and that's okay too. And then just look for some type of retrace, fib retrace, and then at least you have some type of demarcation line. Oh, I didn't mean Tom DeMark. I meant demarcation line for where you could put your stop. So Kevin, yeah, you've experienced that too. Hello, Ponce. So just a couple of other things. So I'm going to be looking at if we get one more high here in the S&Ps Thursday, Friday. I'll try it. I don't know. I bet the guys have some fib extensions up here. So I'll pay attention to Steve and Blake's charts when they show the S&Ps. I don't have any fibs up here right now. I was talking about a move to about 2150, and actually I just saw a tweet from Blake, and this measured the head and shoulders formation bottom that we had, that it was completed. I had some stuff here, I had a moving average coming in around 2160, didn't quite get there. And of course, the pound is still outperforming. But I looked at some of our research, and Grega still has this as a ending diagonal, and we're getting some type of throwover in cable. It hasn't been profitable trying to top pick it. I'm thinking cable and the S&Ps might turn together. I don't know why, I don't know if they're correlated in any way, but I'll be watching that. Cable hasn't confirmed on multiple time frames but it is now, is now, is now. So between cable and stock indexes, stock indexes aren't really confirming. The 4-hour is on the S&P, but not in NASDAQ. Okay. So actually NASDAQ has a weaker structure. Yeah, it's interesting, Jane, you bring up oil, because I was looking at it, and oil strength is, been tremendous, but look at what's happening here. It's not confirming, and it looks like we have drive 2, right? Here's the first drive that confirmed, and this drive up here under 70. And you don't always need 3, but this is the first time on this time frame that we haven't confirmed. You could see the last high did, but finally we're not on a couple. So that's something else to keep an eye on. The feature to me yesterday was silver. I'm not saying that we can't continue this rally and go to about 28, but yesterday the dollar was weak and gold was up. So I can't remember the last time I saw gold up and silver down or flat. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, that is a different tone that we've had in months. Plus, we had dollar weakness yesterday. So we had dollar weakness, gold up and silver flat to lower. So that's kind of a market message that, that this could be the preferred short over gold. Again, I keep waiting for confirmation on the gold silver ratio, which still hasn't happened. Even though I think it may have bottomed last week, still need to close over this 68 level, which, if I move you guys out of the way, actually was a previous low. Okay. So previous low there, see that? And we're rallying right up next to it, right? Previous low over here, and trying to close back above the 68 level. So that tells me that for a while, if we do that, that silver is going to be the preferred short. And when I saw how it was acting yesterday, to me, that's kind of a market tell or a shift in the way things have been. A little bit of a change there. It's just one day, but even today you have gold up $3 and silver unchanged. So I'm very bullish long-term silver, but I think there's going to be better entries down the road. Same for gold, still negative, and part of that's going to be what's the yen going to do here and the dollar. And US dollar yen, after getting slaughtered yesterday, is trying to hold. This was a pretty big area here, and the dollar's trying to do the same from the 90 level, still a higher low. So I think this is important, and probably important for risk off too, because if we're not going straight to new lows and there's another wave up here, I can't imagine it happening without the dollar correction in S&Ps if the dollar's going to do this. And Stel showed a great chart in the dollar yesterday, and he's a huge dollar bear, but he showed a breakdown, and then we could have a recovery back to about 96, 97, and that might be the last bus stop for getting out of US dollars and into other crappy fiat and maybe metals. Okay. So platinum is up. Okay. So that's a little change in tone too, with platinum being up stronger than silver, right? So I have an interesting guess. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Phil Perlman. He used to be in charge of Yahoo Finance, and I'm going to catch up with Phil. It's been, I don't know, years since we've talked. He's actually a psychiatrist, so I'm hoping to get some free advice from him during the interview. And at this time, I'm going to bring free advice. Isn't it? Do you guys like free advice? Who in here likes free advice from Face? Give me a why. Come on, I know you guys do. Nothing's free. Face is free. So there's one thing that's free. Okay, I'm bouncing all of you freeloaders out. I'm kidding. All right. Blake, how you doing today? What's happening with you? Did I put you back to sleep? There's hundreds of people waiting to hear you.
Well, he's
All right.
unmuted, but we can't hear anything. Good morning.
Good morning, Stel.
How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing okay.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Same here.
Dale, Dixie, inverted hand and shoulders. You mean head and shoulders? Okay. On what time frame? Because I don't see it there on the daily. All right. Daily, huh? So here's the head. And now we're putting in a right shoulder, and this is the neckline up here. Yeah. I just kind of see as it's an ABC. And we're pulling back to major support around 90. We need to close over 90.60, and we'll see what happens. I'm not, just because it was right to take some profits off the table. There you are, Blake.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. So weird. I was sitting there talking to you guys, and all of a sudden my my mic was off of a different connection. It was really so strange. Okay, so I'm sorry.
Okay, buddy. I was just saying, asking you how you were doing, and asked if maybe I put you back to sleep.
Oh no, I'm awake, and I was just saying about Phil Perlman.
Oh, you know?
Oh yeah, I used to contribute for StockTwits years ago, back when StockTwits first released or was launched. So maybe about 10 years ago or so. And yeah, he was great. And then I remember I forgot. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to yawn. I forgot he went over to Yahoo Finance, and then
yeah, and I kind of lost touch with him. And
yeah,
you know, he is a psychiatrist, licensed.
Yeah, you know what? I saw that he was Dr. Phil Perlman, and I didn't know he was I didn't know he got his doctorate degree. I wonder if he got it. Maybe it was. I don't know how I never knew that up until recently. You know.
Yeah.
So
well, he doesn't flash it around. He doesn't practice psychiatry anymore. But that was early in his life, and
that was his
so shtick. I'm hoping to get, like I said, a little free advice from him today.
Well, so, you definitely need some free advice.
So I asked everyone who else likes free advice, and we got quite a few attendees that said they enjoy free advice. And DJ said nothing is free, and I said, well, Face is. So you have at least one thing that's free.
That's true.
It's completely free.
It is completely free, and a lot of people are all like, nothing's for free. But
yeah,
you know what? I'll tell you why it's
4 years. We're coming up another month or so. 4 years of, great ideas every day. Not all of them work, but we give our best for free for 4 years now.
No, we have, and we don't do it. We do it in hopes that you're going to join the Forex Analytics community. That's all it is. I mean, it is free, and you guys can be here. You can't have obviously full access to what we do. You have to become a subscriber to get that, but you do have the opportunity to listen in, and hopefully you like us enough. The problem we have is we have Dale, but other than that, I mean, people really start to like us after a while, and come join our community. No, just
the rest of the crew overcomes that handicap.
Yeah, all right.
Steve and I are the most popular guys on FinTwit. Steve
But
Volge or me.
in all actuality, I mean, that's why we do these webinars, is we, like to, give out information, hopefully that it helps you. And if you like what you hear, you'll, join us with the ForexAnalytix community eventually. So, and I can't tell you how many people have told me over the years and have eventually joined. It's, hey, I'm really looking forward to being part of your community. I want to make sure I can afford it, or it's or I've been listening to you for a year, and I'm so I'm ready to come be in your chat rooms. And a lot of people, it takes some time, and that's fine. And time is what we have. Unfortunately, we don't have unlimited time on this planet, but we're all here. We're here to help your journey along the way. So speaking of which, let's talk about a few things that I'm looking at. I was actually looking at the dollar, since we have CPI data coming up in like 15 minutes roughly. And the dollar has pulled back pretty good, and it's pulled back and kind of left me in the, I don't know really what to do from here stage. But I will say that the dollar has completed a lot of technical levels or patterns. Like the euro, we have this inverted head and shoulder pattern. Fine, it squeezed, and we got really close to 50% retracement. As I tweeted, I believe this is complete. Whenever I have a pattern that is developing or looking to complete, a lot of times we stop just shy of it, because you have to imagine that everybody's sell orders for the euro dollar that are long are right here, because of the 50% retracement, because of the inverted head and shoulder pattern completion. You're going to get a lot of sell orders as we're moving up towards that area. So that might have expired that move. Now we do have CPI data. And here's the thing that you have to be looking for. If inflation comes in hot today, you have to imagine that might provoke a shift in the expectations of what the Fed's going to do. We have been seeing inflation tick up all over the place. Chinese inflation data came out last night. It really wasn't too strong, but do you trust Chinese data? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but you can see the CPI data came in a little worse than expected. But when you start looking at CPI in some of the other developed countries, inflation is starting to tick up. And you guys know that, inflation, the way the Fed sees it and the way we see it are probably two different things. So if the Fed starts seeing it come through on CPI, that's when you're going to start to see the dollar really firm. And so if I would be really careful short the dollar here. I also look at the dollar index. We're at the 50% retracement, working off some oversold conditions. This is still an inverted head and shoulder pattern with the dollar index. It is. This is just the previous neckline. So we're below the previous neckline, but we're not below the shoulder. So I wouldn't write off the dollar just yet. I think the dollar has the potential of still moving higher here. And let me just do a little bit of work for you on the dollar index. Let me remove that really quick. Okay. And if you just drop this down and drop and do something like this, I bet you we're in a channel here. Yep. So we have the inverted head and shoulder pattern. Yes, we're below the neckline. Yeah, it caught myself on the wrong side of the dollar there. But we haven't negated the inverted head and shoulder pattern, which you can see, obviously here. So what we have to pay attention to is CPI data today. Also, I do want to point out once again, the SM, and let me just, I needed to finish up what I was drawing there. So just to give you a little bit better view. Right. Okay. And then,
Nice.
yeah. And here's the S&P. So the market's obviously this insatiable move higher in the S&P is just, I mean, it's strong, and we have to be cognizant of the fact that it's really, really strong. As I think I told you guys yesterday, and I can't remember if I told you guys or when we were talking about the bias chart, while we're above 3870, you have to stay bullish. We drop below that. Irina asked me yesterday in our chat room, she goes, is that a megaphone pattern? I'm like, it is currently. Not the long-term megaphone pattern, not the one that capped us for so many years.
Where would we get back inside that 3650?
Yeah, 3650. We'd have to break. I would say if we broke below 3600, this market is really,
yeah, to get back inside that massive megaphone that we've been in a throw over for a while.
Yeah, and that would be a pretty negative situation. But you have to imagine that's a pretty deep pullback from here. I mean, that would be that'd be 8%. So if we start dropping below, we pull back 10% in equities, then we're probably going to see a much bigger move lower, I would assume. But let's tackle first things first. We're up against resistance, and while we're above 3870, it's still bullish. But you guys have to be careful with risk up here. And then I'm going to bring in Steve and Stelios right now, but I want to just mention as they're coming on, Bitcoin's coming under a little bit of pressure. This is one of those assets that I think we do have to watch. It's not like some of us may not trade it a whole lot, but I think it is really should be viewed as a risk asset. So if it does come under pressure, it may start to influence, the rest of the market, believe it or not. So, Steve, Stelios, how are you guys doing this morning?
Good morning. All good, thank you.
Hey guys, now I know we have Phil Perlman coming on here in like 10 minutes. I'm excited to listen to him. I haven't talked to him in years. It's been years, but yes. Like I mentioned, I used to be a contributor for StockTwits 10 years ago, maybe. Back when I first started on Twitter, I mean, roughly. So it's been a long time, and I haven't talked to him in eons, but it'll be good to hear his voice. So you guys stick around because it will be a really good interview.
Cool.
So what's happening with you guys? What are you guys looking at today?
Well, Blake, you talked about CPI coming up, and if we get a surprise, maybe the dollar moves. Unfortunately, we've come to the point where these things don't matter, and I'll give you proof of that. We had Norway Cpi this morning. It's something I watch because I like the Norwegian krone. I always want to watch that. And last reading was 1.4% year on year. It had started creeping up. This reading 2.5%. The krone did not move. It just didn't move. It just shows you how these markets no longer care. They think that central banks are going to be at zero or close to zero till kingdom come. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, maybe, and just, to talk a little bit about that, maybe the world doesn't really care so much about every other central bank, but the Federal Reserve right now, because the Federal Reserve is really going to be that's going to be the market mover, right? I mean, yeah, true.
Having said that, I think we're going to need to see many prints, strong prints of, inflation, GDP, unemployment, everything before the Fed will even contemplate doing anything with rates. Unfortunately.
The thing is that I kind of disagree, Stelio. This is not normal market behavior one way or another.
I didn't say it's normal.
and I'll explain why. Because if the thesis is that the market believes that no matter what the print is, they're not going to do anything, which I believe that's going to be the case for as long as it's possible, then a higher CPI print should be immediately currency negative. So you should have a movement in any case. If the market believes that the higher print is going to trigger a response.
stagflation, right?
Yeah, it is going to trigger a response from the central bank. Then the reaction to the currency can be positive in the sense I'm expecting them to raise rates, so I'm going to preemptively like beat the currency. If you don't believe the central bank is going to do something, then the response should be there is higher inflation and there aren't going to be raising rates, so the currency should depreciate. So one way or another, prints should matter, you know what I mean? But they don't.
Yeah, true. Although having said that, they look at now it's not a target. It has to be, how did they call it? We can be on either side of 2%, a symmetrical target.
Yeah.
So
That's that's a new
we're expecting
keyword.
1.5%. If it comes in 1.6, 1.8, 1.9, 1.2, I think there's no difference. I mean, really, there's no difference. But anyway, let's see how it goes. And this mindset has to stop at some point, but at the moment data doesn't seem to matter, unfortunately. Anyway.
All right. Well, I don't think, I think you're right, Stelios. It really hasn't mattered up until now, or data just in general, but I think it will. I think this is the year that data actually starts to matter a little bit more.
I hope so.
But yeah, we all really hope so. I personally, I do. So I'm going to turn it over to you guys. Good luck today, everybody. For those of you that are ForexAnalytix subscribers, I'll see you guys just in, I'll see you guys at about what, 45 minutes from now?
Yeah.
For the bias chart.
Roughly that much, yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can stick it out with you guys through the data really quick. I mean, if I can just keep it on the charts, we might as well. We're only a few minutes away. And let's see what we get for the data. Steve, what are your thoughts for today as we head into this
print
10th of February? And by the way, it is my wife's birthday today.
Oh,
happy birthday!
I'll call and sing.
What's that? I'll let her know that you guys said happy birthday. Thank you.
I'm calling you. I'm going to sing, man. I never waste an opportunity of.
Yeah, of course,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, she won't be awake for hours. But that's okay because it's early enough there.
I think in general we should slowly but steadily see a climb in inflation creep in. Perhaps not yet because the past few months we didn't have like a new stimulus or whatever. But I think it's a matter of time. So, but predicting, a specific print, I mean, it's like playing a lottery.
Yeah, right.
And as we said before, most importantly, you know what the problem is? Until like 15 years ago, if somebody could give you in advance all the data prints, you would 100% become a millionaire. Nowadays, even if somebody gave you the prints in advance and they told you that's exactly what's going to, print in, that metric or whatever, you're not even sure what the market is going to do with it.
Yeah, these days, I actually 100% agree with that. I really do. Hey, so Forex Gal, just to answer your question, this was wine birthday. I tracked down some of our favorite wines from all over that we've had over the years. So that was
that's like getting your wife a football.
Yeah,
because you use it for you to use.
I got her regulation size NFL football. It's exactly what she wanted.
You got her a couple of coupons for like 1 hour of Blake Love.
Yeah, there we go.
No, even better. He got her coupons. He got her coupons for air travel discounts.
Yes,
there's a few out there. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're just a few seconds away from the economic data. So
and then Phil.
And Phil, yeah,
Phil is in the house.
Phil is in the house. It's good to. I'm telling you guys, stick around. The guy's a wealth of knowledge. He's I haven't talked to him in, like I said, years. It's been years. So, but stand by.
Yep.
All right.
And remember, this is not the metric that the Fed looks at. They look at core PCE, but obviously CPI is also important.
You're getting confused, Telio. There is one metric that the Fed is looking, and that's the S&P.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
don't bother with the rest.
Okay.
Peter Bookvard,
Yes.
that is S&P dependent.
Slightly worse. Okay, 0.1.
All
Nothing.
right. Well,
Nothing.
the dollar's going to have a negative reaction because we were hoping for maybe a little bit better data, and it came in. The core came in 0.2% lower. So, I mean, you know, dollar, it isn't doing much right now, but you can see the dollar is really, I mean, I think the market was really hoping that we'd see some stronger data. So not the case. Guess what? That means stocks are going to continue to go up forever. So good news, guys. For those of you that
Don't
are
forget the age of Aquarius on the 11th, Norm Linsky. All the planets are in there. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Put your go find your tinfoil hat for your wife's birthday, buddy.
All right, we'll do. Hey, just again, if you guys are not ForexAnalytix subscribers, remember it's only $1 for 10 days. If you want to try to get it for free, visit our Pepperstone Securities, which is our sponsor of this webinar, of the FACE webinar, and they help really, you know, make this happen. And you have to click this link right here to open an account. You get 2 months for free when you open a live trading account if you're outside the US and Canada. And you can also from there get another 2 months if you trade 500,000 in currency. And if you do not if you live in the United States or Canada, make sure you visit Forest Park FX, which you'll see their stuff on here soon. All right, guys. Dale.
All right.
All yours.
Yep. I'm going to
All right.
bring Phil in now. Phil just promoted you to being a panelist here. And waiting to... Hi, Phil.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, man. How many years has it been?
It's been a long time, and it's great to reconnect. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. You know, I had just seen a tweet, and I go, God, you know, I have to invite Phil, and you know, I've had a haircut so I could be on camera. How's life been during this pandemic for you, Phil?
You know, I will tell you that it provided a lot of perspective, and it allowed me to I'm blessed out of my mind, and I appreciate it every single day. And this time has really provided me with perspective, family, my health. Those are really the top priorities in my life, and I'm blessed in both regards. And you know, we moved out of the city a while ago. I think it was a little tougher for people in the city, but we have a little bit of space out here in the country, you know, not in the country, but sort of the suburban country.
Right.
And, you know, I just focused on my family, my business, my health, clean living. And
yeah, I noticed, and we're going to get to it. So your passion, I'm sure it's not a new passion, but you're out there talking about health a lot, and dietary things. And, you know, I want to get to that later on in the interview, but I'd like to kind of catch up with you. You know, I kind of lost touch with you after you left StockTwits and went to Yahoo Finance. And, you know, what happened? Did you enjoy your stint at Yahoo Finance? And I know from your Twitter account what you're doing now. But how was that experience at Yahoo Finance?
Yahoo, by the way, let me just say, I caught the first half hour of this, and you guys do a great job. You know, just
thanks,
sort of catching everybody up on what's happening in the currency markets, but even more than that. So I really enjoyed it. I haven't some of these charts I haven't looked at in a long time. And I really, really appreciated the perspective of what you guys are doing.
You're welcome here anytime. It's also on video. We, you know, put them out on YouTube if you ever want to just check out where our heads are at. Best team I've ever been part of in my long and illustrious career. And, you know, we really care about people. And really, it's a very difficult endeavor to be a trader. And we try and help people avoid the landmines each of us has stepped on. So, why don't we just go right to the present here, Phil, and tell me about what you're doing with Osprey funds. And I believe there was an IO after that. So have you embraced blockchain, and is that what they do? Osprey funds?
Yes. So we build digital asset funds, and that's the focus of the company. And we have a Osprey Bitcoin Trust, which has been in private placement now for over 2 years now. And next week, we've met criteria, FINRA criteria. Next week, the trust will begin trading in the secondary market under ticker OBTC. And really, our mantra is to provide access to Bitcoin, to make it to build a really well-structured product.
Kind of like what Grayscale did, Phil?
Similar to Grayscale, very similar to Grayscale.
Okay, because I remember after they took Bitcoin down to 3,000 from 18, and people were talking about wallets and how to store them, and the only kind of wallet I knew was made of leather. So it was kind of like foreign territory to me to wrap my head around it and so forth. So, a lot of guys from my generation, still involved in legacy markets. And so I went with GBTC as a trade because I really didn't know how to go about just buying a Bitcoin and putting it in some type of file. I'm not low tech, Phil. I'm no tech. So this is another way for you guys to do it. Where's the secondary market? What are you talking about as far as a secondary market?
Over-the-counter market, OTC.
Oh, OTC. Okay. And, so it's not a SPAC or anything like that, which is something else I really don't understand. I feel like I've, like my father, my parents, or my grandparents, with all the innovations that are occurring in the market just to keep up with new products and everything that's going on. It's like Future Shock by Toffler. I remember that book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So
remember reading that. I think I read that in college.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, me too. So, we're in that same age group. How about Rec Shares? Micro. Go ahead.
Rec Shares is the parent company.
Oh, I see.
And we have multiple product suites. The other one, Microsectors, builds ETNs, exchange traded notes.
Okay.
And we are in a number of categories, FANG, banks, right. and these are products for traders, energy, cannabis. And that is a great, that has been a lot of fun, and it's been growing like crazy in assets under management total there. And it's really, those are for traders. They're 2 times and 3 times instruments. You could check that out. You can check that out at microsectors.com if you're interested in any of those.
Okay.
But the Osprey product, I see you have that on your screen.
Just brought it up.
Our mantra there is to build great products. So we have partners like Coinmetrics and Fidelity Digital Assets. Fidelity Digital provides the custody of the Bitcoin. So what you were talking about before about the wallets, 20% of all Bitcoin is off the market. And what I mean by that is that, the store, the keys have been lost. or in some way those Bitcoin have assumed to be inaccessible. So that is
it's almost like a cartel, Phil, isn't it?
Well, it's just, you know what it is? It's behaviorism. Okay. I mean, so much of and I'm going to get all behavioral finance, you know, for the viewers who are not aware, my background is in psychology. I'm a psychologist going back, behavioral economics, and it's really behavioral. And this is why, you know, people are trained, you know, we're behaviorally conditioned to be sloppy with our passwords. If you lose your Google password, you just, you know, ask for another one and it sends a message to your phone and you put in a code and you get a new password. And that happens at just about every website. But with Bitcoin, it's decentralized. So there's no place for you to get your password back. So we've all been trained to be very loose with our passwords because it's so easy to get them back. So with Bitcoin, people got them very early on. Hey, I was talking with a neighbor the other day that lives across the street from me, and he was saying, yeah, back in like 2012, you know, one of my geek friends sent me this Bitcoin. I had it on my phone, lost the phone, and it would be worth like $9,000 today. It's lost forever. I have no idea what happened to that phone. It's gone with all the other old phones. And that's what kind of worried me. The services that we provide by virtue of trading under a ticker is that's, you know, and having a strong custodian is that you don't really have to worry so much about wallets and keys and sort of the complexities of owning a digital asset directly.
Okay, I know there's a new contract coming up on Ethereum. I'm just showing it. And, you know, I want to get to the psychologist's background that you have here. And, you know, I want you to give me your best diagnosis for current market conditions. You know, I can't remember. I mean, you mentioned it, marijuana stocks. I mean, everything, many markets, 10 baggers are not unusual. And then, you know, what we recently had with Reddit traders, what do you call this market? Euphoric, manic, or disorderly? I mean, have you ever seen what's happened in crypto? These gains aren't normal that I've seen in the market. So, I mean, you know, it's outside of, you know, things where you just normally see trends in markets and then corrections. But I think people think it's normal to buy something at 5 and see it at 45, 50 in a month or two, and it's not. So how would you diagnose this market?
Yeah, you know, here's my view. We are living in an age of very significant upheaval and confusion and disorientation and change. And I think it goes back a ways. It goes back to, you know, if you want to really trace it far back, it goes back to the advent of the semiconductor, right? And so I'm talking about Moore's Law, and we have had a technological advancement on this planet over the last 60 years that is massive in scale. And we saw it with the dot-com boom as well. That was part and parcel. And now we're beginning to see that's beginning to mature, and we're seeing changes that have endured and that are becoming a part of a new fabric. And any time that you have that substantial, you know, humans have gone through hundreds of year periods, thousands of year periods when almost nothing has changed. Yeah. And that, you know, periods of difficulty, life is hard, but also stability in terms of the environment around them and the way that their cultures were structured. And we are seeing now an upheaval, and I can only imagine what it was like. Imagine the first generation after the wheel was invented, right? So you had, parents, there was no wheel.
Right.
The wheel is invented. You're in some village or wherever you're living. And then you have children and they have never not seen a wheel and all of the things that come along. So just because the wheel was invented doesn't mean the wheelbarrow was invented. That came later. So you had all of these after effects and the way the world changed massively in the 3 to 5 generations that followed the advent of the wheel. Well, we're seeing the exact same thing right now. And we're seeing all types of effects on communication.
Is blockchain the wheel, Phil?
What's that?
It's blockchain the wheel.
I think the semiconductor is the wheel.
Okay.
And I think it is changing everything. Everything. It's, it started with the computing, and then you had communication and the internet, and then you had the way businesses are changed, and you have the way accountancy is changed. Now you're seeing the beginning, quite possibly, and I'm hedging myself here because I can't tell the future. As a matter of fact, your question about the environment we're in, I could have gone a different direction. I could have said, listen, nobody knows anything until after it's over. And the one big takeaway about this environment right now is humility. And that, we're seeing things that you've been around, I've been around. We remember the dot-com bubble. We remember the global financial crisis, and we're still seeing things that are novel to us. And humility is really always an important component of market participation and market observation. And these types of periods of instability, of things that we can't, that don't compute into our models of the world, those are periods where we learn humility. Now, whether we remember that or not is a whole different story.
Usually it takes getting your teeth kicked in. In fact, I'll take advantage of this moment in the interview to announce with the greatest pride to the whole world how humble I've become. So, anyway, looking at humility, being a trader is something that it's definitely respecting the power of a market and the power of certain forces in the market, kind of like the ocean. You go out into the ocean and it's so powerful you don't know it till a big wave comes. And humility is also about helping other people, isn't it, Phil? That showing people the way and sharing your experience. I mean, what good is anything until it is shared with another?
Yeah, I'll tell you that having an opportunity to help even one person in this world is a privilege and a blessing. And I can't, even in the smallest way. And so that has, that's certainly a priority in my life. Now, that being said, I think, I think you have to take care of yourself first, because you can't really, take care of other people until you have your own house in order.
Yeah.
I just wanted to finish up one last point about the present environment.
Okay.
The humility, we're not going to know. So just, I'm sitting here and my answer to your question is I have no idea. I don't know what the future pretends. I'm not going to pretend to know. I got a million theories about it. None of them have been proven correct. And I'm just going to, there's things that I'm just not going to get involved in. I'm not going to get involved in GameStop because I have no edge there. And it's a noise festival. It's not my game. And I don't have to be involved.
Sorry to interrupt. How different is GameStop from cannabis stocks? At least from the charts that we can look from like a few months ago.
Everything is the same. There's no difference in any asset. There's no difference in any asset. Every asset is at the whim of human behavior, and human emotion. And so I
no,
really think,
I agree with you, Doctor, and I think you've done a magnificent job, and I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating. From what you've said, you've been so far involved in everything that looks to me like a bubble, and I'm not saying that as a negative thing, because you can make tons of money by, in essence, predicting in advance which kind of markets will create the emotional response that will generate a bubble.
you are hitting on some of the current work that I'm doing, some of the current research that I'm doing that I really haven't written publicly about yet, but that is very, very interesting, I think. And that is, what happens after a bubble to an asset? You have some bubbles that never come back.
Yeah,
and
historically, exactly. There are two possible outcomes. One, it dies completely. And two, if there are some elements of value, then it starts rebuilding that value from very low valuations post-bubble.
I think that's correct. I think I would even say there's maybe a third, but it's not as well formulated. And that's the one where it just kind of dribbles along for a long time before coming back, or maybe never comes back, but never goes to zero. I'm sort of thinking of the Nikkei as a possible representative of, a long-term view of the
30 years. Yeah.
But I think you're correct. I think there's two, there's the tulip, and then there is Amazon, right? I mean, Amazon went from 113 to 6, and now it's way higher than 113. And Bitcoin, you could make a similar argument.
Yeah, there've been a few bubbles in Bitcoin.
It's already had multiple extreme, parabolic moves, and then crashes and then comebacks.
Yeah, how about housing, Phil? I mean, after 08, when everyone was losing their house and hedge funds came in and scooped them up and turned them into a yield investment, I don't think a lot of people thought that we'd ever see those price levels exceeded after 2008, 2009, and way surpassed them.
Exactly. And 100%. And there's fundamental value there, right? People live in, people need houses. There's more people in this country now than there were then, and people need to live somewhere. So there is that sort of a fundamental underpinning. I think one of the interesting things about Bitcoin is that the fundamental underpinning is not well delineated, not well understood, and still sort of the game is still afoot in terms of what the meaning of it is. We know what the meaning of housing is.
Right.
We're still only coming to slowly understand what the meaning of ubiquitous digital assets are.
Okay, and I know we're talking about a lot of financial assets and what they mean, but you and I are from the same generation. How would you diagnose the body politic in America now, Phil? And is this a symptom? Do you think it could manifest to where we're seeing, is America going to bounce back? Was it a bubble? And how do you think that we can bridge this divide that is between half the population one way, half the population our brothers and sisters, citizens, the other way? What do you think it's going to take for a healing, and can it heal?
I'm an optimist by nature, and I hope that we pull through this and learn from it. I have no idea.
Does the country need like a marriage counselor?
What's that?
The country needs a marriage counselor. Right?
I think it's a reflection of the change. It's a spin-off of all of the change that is happening in this world and has been happening. And we have a lot of growing pains, and we have a lot of changing pains, and change is always difficult. I'm not sure how we're going to come through. I do know this, and this goes back to the question you asked me right at the top. And that is, you have to have your own house in order. And during periods of like this, and this is a selfish thing that I'm saying, and I'm just being very clear about that. You got to take care of yourself, and you got to take care of your own, because you're going to have people in your orbit who are going through difficult times. You're going to have people in your orbit who are suffering. You're going to have people in your orbit who are angry, more so now than at any time that I can recall.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's a matter right now of taking care of your own first, and then once you with both eyes open, feel like observe that you have your house in order, then you can go and help others as best you can. And I'm just,
and this
like
part
I
of your
said,
effort
really
to
blessed.
do that, Phil, the Prime Cuts newsletter right here.
Yeah, the Prime. So here's that, you know,
I'm subscribing right now, buddy.
I love it. I appreciate it. Here's that right now in a nutshell. So, you know, I over the course of the last maybe 10 years, I've dedicated myself to getting really healthy. And, you know, one of the main reasons for that is that I started becoming a parent a little bit later than most people. So I'm 53 and my eldest is 14. So I had my first kid at 39. And I looked around and I saw a lot of parents with kids the same age who were younger than me. And I just thought, hey, you know, I want to be a grandparent who is active and healthy and able to just be an awesome grandparent. And so I began dedicating myself to really getting healthy. And I have found that it's a circuitous route. It's not just a straight shot. You don't just get healthy. You know, you don't just make a decision. It's filled with emotion. It's filled with poor decisions. It's filled with 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, sometimes 3 steps forward, 4 steps back. So it's this long thing. And, you know, especially in maybe the last 2 years or so, I've really gotten to a point where I'm at a place where it's gotten consistent, where I'm really healthy, and where I'm in a stable situation. And I saw what was happening in the world, and I was like, well, you know, what is one thing I can do to give back a little bit? And I had people, you know, people call me and talking with friends of mine that are going through difficult things and so forth. And my background is I am a psychologist by education.
Right.
And so I was like, well, you know, if I put this out, I may be able to reach more people. And the goal really is to help one person get healthier. And if I do that, if I write, you know, 500 of these over the next, 10 years, one a week on Sunday mornings, and one person really benefits profoundly, then I will have considered it a success. And I really opine on nutrition, exercise, rest, mindfulness. Those are kind of the, and I don't keep a really well structured. I just kind of write about whatever is in my head and whatever I'm thinking about that week. And I focus a lot on low carb and high protein. I focus a lot on walking and moving the body every single day and resistance training. I do read a good bit about longevity research and about nutrition research. And I follow a small group of super competent people who are teaching me. And so that's really what this is all about.
All right. Well, you know what? If you bought Bitcoin at 3,000 and you bought a lot of it and it's at 45 right now, and you have a hard time getting out of bed and you have a lot of symptoms, and coming from a cancer survivor, which I am, your health is your wealth, and you could be rich, and if you're sick, it doesn't mean a damn thing. So great mission, Phil, and I'm so glad that we reconnected, and like to have you back and get you into the rotation. And I wish you the greatest success. And you know what? May you live to be a great grandfather. Thanks for being here with us.
Dale, I can't thank you enough. I'm happy to come on anytime.
It was really great to, and the best of luck and success with your, with your OBTC symbol, and people will pay attention to it. I'll start tracking it, and everything you're doing, Phil, you're a warrior on many different levels. So thank you, my trading warrior brother, for being with us today.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, buddy. All right, so that's a wrap, everyone. And you heard Phil. So don't just count your pips or your crypto, count your blessings. And we'll see everyone tomorrow. Don't forget to join Blake and the team for going over the bias chart and intraday action. And that's a wrap. See everyone tomorrow. Adios. Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Phil.
everybody.
Adios, guys.
See you, Steve.
Bye-bye, coach.